Hey guys, I'm Tech from Tech Driven, and today we're going to talk about car maintenance that nobody does, but they should be. This project involves less than $10 and about 5 minutes of your time. Nobody does it, dealerships don't do it, mechanics don't do it until there's a problem, then it costs you hundreds of dollars, not to mention all that frustration. So we're going to try to eliminate that. And for this project, we're going to need general grease, WD-40, and a glove. So let me show you what we're doing. So hey guys, before we begin, I really would appreciate if you click like and share this video with your friends. I'm sure they'll find it helpful just like you will, and you will save hundreds of dollars, so will your friends. So let me know in the comments below if you ever had this situation where you go to your car, you try to open the door, you pull on the handle, instead of opening the car, the handle breaks off, or when you go to your car, you put in the key and your key does not want to turn. Let me know in the comments below. I had this happen to me at least twice in my lifetime. I had a bunch of friends that happened to. So let me know if it happened to you or your friends. So let's start with the most expensive and most frustrating thing that can happen to you. And let's get that addressed. So what you want to do is get in your car, pull the lever to pop the hood. Once the hood is popped, locate your handle, lift your hood up, and if it doesn't have hydraulics, secure it. Alright, so it all depends on how old is your car and how long you've been driving it and in what conditions. So for this project I'm using WD-40. This might be an optional depending on your car and how old it is. And of course my primary thing I'm going to be using is general purpose grease. And you want to have a glove because you will get dirty. So what we're looking at here is that the mechanism that pops the hood open has a line that goes in the car, and as you can see here, even though my car is only 3 years old, you can see already signs of rust, and that's what we want to avoid. So what we're going to do is actually put some grease on this. If your car is older, you might notice that there should be some grease on it, and either one, there's a lot of dirt, so for that you may want to use the WD-40 to spray it out and clean it out. Just because it's a lubricant and it's watery, it will actually clean the dirt out. But once you do that, you do want to use an all-purpose grease because it actually will stick to the mechanism and help it lubricate it, so that way dirt doesn't get into it and it works properly. Because one thing can happen is during the winter, you go to fill your windshield wipers fluid, and you can't open the hood, you can't drive it, or your battery goes bad and you can't access the hood to change it. So how are you supposed to fix the car? And as you can see from the front of the car, it's not an easy task to replace the hatch or line. If that happens, you have to go to a mechanic and spend a lot of money just to get it fixed. So this is our prevention method for this part. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is that's why I have a glove, because it is messy. I'm going to take some grease and start applying on the spring. That will prevent it from corroding. And the mechanism. Don't be shy on the grease when it comes to the hood. You can actually, there's no way you can get it too much, but at the same time you don't want to really overdo it, just because grease is sort of like a magnet for dirt. If you're driving in a lot of dusty areas, I would try to be more specific and not to add too much grease, especially on the front, because they will actually attract dirt. Focus more on the rear if possible, and try to get it there in the hidden spots as well, just so it's nicely lubricated. That way it will move freely for a long period of time, and you can do this even if you do it once a year. Chances are it should last you for around 10 years without any issues. I mean, stuff happens, but most likely this will prevent it from frustrations, from spending a crap load of money on fixing your hood hatch. But that's not it. So there's more, and we're gonna get to it now. So next step will be take your WD-40 and put it in the key lock here. Spray it a little bit, not too much, just a little bit, because you don't want to drain it all over the place. And of course, if there's any access, just make sure you wipe it down. Make sure you do that to all the doors that have locks on it. This will prevent it from seizing when dirt gets into it. There's a little piece here that protects it from dirt, but over time, a little dirt gets in there anyway. But next step is the door. So here we have the mechanism that actually opens the door, and what happens is the dirt gets in here a little bit. But when it comes to adding grease here, we want to add just tiny bit, really small, tiny bit, because we don't want to have too much grease so it doesn't go all over the place. Because the thing is, when you get in a car, you don't want to be sort of rub it slightly and get it on your clothes. And another thing you can try to do is use a cotton swab to sort of get that in that place. So this part doesn't get that much dirt in it, but you still want to get a little greasiness so that way you lubricate it and it moves freely. And let's not forget about our gas tank door. This thing actually is always open to debris and dirt getting into it. And we want to make sure we do grease up the hinges and the locking mechanism if yours have it. Since I had this car new, I took it to dealership regarding this door hatch, that it's not opening and closing properly, it's really hard. And every single time they just said it's working fine, nothing, there isn't a problem. And all it really took is springs and TW40 to get it going again. So I know the grease does help, and it will prevent it from rusting. Not to mention it will help opening and closing it pretty. Look at that, it's a lot smoother automatically. So of course, if you have a truck, you want to address the tailgate. If you have a sedan or SUV, you know, it's going to be your trunk. That's where EWD-40, we want to get the lock in there as well. This is probably something you don't use a lock for them often, but it still doesn't hurt to put some grease in it so that way you can actually still open it with a key. But we're not done here. What you want to do is open the hatch. So it doesn't matter if you're a truck or a SUV or a sedan, your trunk hatch also applies, just like we did the front hood. Truck beds have a bolt on both sides, and of course if you have a sedan or SUV you will have one, and you want to get grease in there as well. This will help it to open up freely as well. If you have a truck, of course, don't be shy here, add a lot of it, because this is something that actually dirt gets a lot easier in the back versus the front, and we want to do this on both sides, of course. And of course, we're done. So that's all it takes to actually maintain your door locks and all the hatches and make sure everything moves freely. And unfortunately, it should be part of regular maintenance, but nobody does it, and it's up to you to actually get it done or tell your mechanic to do it for you. It shouldn't be expensive, like I said. It will cost you around $10 or less for the parts with the W40 and the grease, and about 5 minutes of your work. And I didn't count the gloves, but you should have some gloves lying around. And it will save you lots of money in the long run, including frustration, that how frustrating it would be if you were trying to open your trunk, your door, or your front hood and you can't open it. And it can be avoided by simply greasing it regularly on a regular basis. I would say, depending on your location, on how much dirt or how much salt debris from the roads you get on your car, or how much you drive really, would depend how often you should do it. I would recommend doing it at least once a year, or at least visually inspect, see if the grease is still there, if there's any dirt. And of course, if the grease is there and you got some dirt on it, you do want to use TW40 to spray it down. The liquid oil in the TW40 will actually clean it out, and then you can re-grease it. So I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure you click like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Don't forget to share. Help somebody else.